Hello and welcome back to this series of instructional videos on the Entropia simulation. This section we're going to cover market research and environmental information. So we'll be looking at some of the details that you can look for in the simulation to help you make decisions as you go forward. Okay. To start with, there's several types of information that are available for you to use. The first and foremost is the data log, which you will find on the website as an Excel file. And you will find most of the starting values of all of the variables in this game. Secondly, you can purchase market research from the game, and that comes into a number of different categories. First and foremost are the industry news and indicators. So, before the simulation started, we've set a lot of the parameters and the values of things like economic indices and consumer price indices, that sort of thing. So you can look at those and look at trends over time. And then the various market research items that you can purchase, there's many of them, including prices, production costs, that sort of thing. As you move throughout the game, you'll also be engaging in what we call competitive intelligence, where you'll be looking at what your competitors are doing and benchmarking off of them if they're similar to you, or looking for opportunities for you to move into the market. As well as those sort of three more formal items, there's also going to be some rumors and some gossip and some facts that happen during the game. Oftentimes you'll see that teams may release some information about other teams through emails, through Facebook, through other social media events, and that's really all part and parcel of the simulation game. So sometimes you'll have to filter that out or use what you can. So the first thing we're going to do is take a look at the data log. Okay, so you'll see this under the resources section of the website, and it's in an Excel file available in both French and English. So you'll see that this will have all of the starting values for the game, including what production capacities are, how much it costs to build a plant, what the fixed rates or fixed costs are meant to be, and then an estimate of what consumer prices are for the first couple of grades. So if we look here, this is the Excel file here. Now I'm just down on the marketing and logistics tab here, and we can see all of the typical variables that are available. This particular simulation model that I'm showing you is for batteries and smartphones. So the X here would be the batteries, the Y would be the smartphones. And you can see that the typical end user consumer prices per unit for the initial grades. So for a battery in North America, consumers are willing to pay $80 for that battery. Likewise, for the initial grade of smartphone, it's $240. So you will see all of these items listed here, and those are what the simulation will begin with. Now these values are going to change as the periods move on, but this will stay static, so you'll have to keep track of these. For instance, if the grades go up, you might expect that consumers might maybe pay $90 for the next grade of battery, and you'll be able to get that information from the market research. So you'll see down at the bottom on the tabs, you'll see the various areas that they cover, marketing and logistics. So this contains your marketing costs, such as sales offices and shipping costs. Production, so we have the estimated production costs. So it looks like the variable cost per unit of the initial grade of battery will be about $20 per unit. We have other things in there about how much it costs to build an initial battery plant, an initial smartphone plant. Okay, and you'll see all sorts of other items covered under research and development, research items and costs that are available for you. The finance rates, such as what the tax rates are at the beginning of the game, and the XY conversion chart, which will give you an idea of what grades are able to go into which phones. So for instance, in this case, if you are building a phone of grade 3, you can put into that either an X2 or a battery of grade 2, one of those, or a battery of grade 3. So that's the compatibility chart. So as we move up to other grades, you can follow this along. Okay. There's also an estimate of how much it costs to open sales offices and that sort of thing. So that's the data log, gives you all of the initial starting values of the game, and that's going to be very important for you to keep track of as the game goes on. Okay. So as I said, as the game happens, there'll be some industry news and indicators that will appear, and I'll show you that a little bit in a little while when we go to the website. But every period you're going to get new industry news published, and you're going to get new values of indicators along with trends. Okay, so in that we will develop a bunch of events that may occur during the game. So this particular section of the website will show you perhaps what those events may be. Okay, just to give you an idea of what might happen. There might be slowdowns in production in certain areas. There might be strikes that affect capacity or production in certain areas. There could be inflation, those sorts of things. Those are usually foreshadowed or at least indicated by some of the values that are created here. Okay. The third thing is the idea of purchasing market research. So as you go throughout the game, you're going to want to learn as much as possible about your market. And there's approximately 35 items available for purchase. So most of these are fluid, meaning they're going to change every period. And they're divided into the categories of marketing, production, research and development, and then competitive intelligence. So we're just going to zip over to the website here and take a look at some of these items of information. So let me just log in here. And you're going to go down to the Make Decisions screen, Marketing, and then Order Market Research. So this screen here gives you a list of all of the market research items that are available. You can see the ones that are in green and have the word ordered beside them means that we have already purchased those, and you can have a look at them. So every period you can order all 35 if you like and take a look at what's going on. So we're just going to go to one of them here. Let's go to that industry news and indicators that I was talking about. Okay, and if we click on that, this little screen will come up and say, do you want to order that? Yep. Okay, as soon as I do, I'm charged for it. Okay, and this will give us a couple of different industry indicators. So in this case, we have, for instance, the Consumer Price Index. And it gives us a value of what it was last period at 297, and the estimate of next period being 295. So it means it's going down in North America. Okay, so that's a downward trend in there. So you can use that as information for apps, the way you set your prices in that particular period. There's a bunch of different items available here. We can look at unemployment rate, for instance, and see that the value last period in North America was 3.42, and next period it's 2.1. That's going down. That's presumably a good thing. And you could adjust some of your, you could maybe expect that you might be able to hire more, that sort of thing. So things would be better in that particular case. All right, so that's what the industry news and indicators looks like. Below this table, you'll also see a list of news items. I don't have an example here to show you, but you will see things that are written in paragraph form describing some events that may be occurring as the period progresses. Okay, I'll show you some other ones here, like we'll go to one of the ones that we've already ordered, the consultant's estimate here of variable costs for smartphones. And this gives you a nice table here estimating what the consultants think the grades costs will be as we move forward. Okay, so in this particular period, we can look and say, at grade 7 smartphones, for instance, consumers are likely going to pay somewhere between $129 and $164 per unit. So it gives you a range there, a confidence interval around what the prices for those items are likely to be. Okay. Similarly, you'll find that there's a number of items that you can buy in terms of competitive intelligence. One of the things that you can do is download all of the financial statements. There's no files available here, but you could download the financial statements for each of the other teams in the game and have a look at them. So they're consolidated, meaning they're kind of compressed together, but you can get an idea of how they're doing. Okay? You could also have a look at financial ratios, for instance. And we can see there's 84 teams in this game. We can have a look at how other teams are doing in terms of their financial ratios. So for instance, if you were say an X producer, we could compare our return items to other X producers in the game to see how they're doing. Okay, so for instance, we have Things like gross margin here, which would be very important for a producer. We can see Team 9 at 19 is kind of leading the pack with around, or sort of middle of the pack, whereas Team 42 is up towards 78.6% gross margin. So that would give us some ideas of how we could benchmark against those sorts of things. So these are all useful items that you can order, and again, you can order as many as you like as the game goes on to maximize the decisions that you can make in that respect. Okay, and again, they're divided up into marketing, production, R&D, and competitive. Okay, and as the game goes on, as I said, there's going to be rumors and gossip and facts that are presented. This game lends itself to a lot of intercompany transactions and negotiations. There'll be lots of interpersonal communication. So naturally, rumors and gossip are going to occur in that sort of environment, and that becomes part of it. Okay, so that concludes this section on market research and environmental information. It's an important aspect of the Entopia game, and good luck to you as you go forward.